What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're continuing the signings for the New York Giants. We did the drafted players yesterday and we're doing the undrafted players today, so let's get right into. So first up on the list we have Chander, safety out of Temple. Now I'm not going to be doing the crazy edits for this video or putting up the highlights or anything, so we're just going to talk about the players and you guys could do your research on them for yourself. I did some film watching, whatever I could, whatever film that was there, and any highlights or whatever it is that was available for me to watch. I also watched a lot of their combine grades and stuff like that, and what they put up in the combine, those who were invited to the combine. And I also have some guys that are trying out in mini camp, so that should be interesting to watch as well. They're long shots, but a dream is a dream. So anyway, like I said, we start off with Chander, safety out of Temple. This guy's an excellent ball tracker. If you guys really have to compare him to somebody, it's like a mini Landon Collins. You could put him anywhere. The only thing is that that's good with Chander is that he had time playing at cornerback, which is good. Landon Collins doesn't really do that much. He doesn't really play in the slot and stuff like that. He usually just guards the tight ends and stuff like that. But he is still very athletic, and Chander can play in the box. He was the middle safety in cover 3 situation, so he's definitely a good reader of the field. He has sideline to sideline quickness. The only thing that I guess didn't get him drafted is that I don't think he put up very big numbers, and on top of that, he's a very inconsistent tackler. I mean, against the same running back, I seen him once lay out a running back and then at the same time look like he was scared to tackle the same running back that he just laid out. So very inconsistent tackling, bad angles and stuff like that. But when it comes to undrafted players, I don't look at every single knack like as if a first round pick would be. I'm very lenient because there's a reason why they're undrafted. There's a reason why they weren't looked at in the draft. There's a reason why they're picked up, in the undrafted free agency round. So, you got to be very lenient when watching highlights or watching tape and whatever it is from these players, because they're not that good. You may find a diamond in the rough, and that's what we're ultimately searching for, what every team is searching for. But Chander, pretty good safety. You can definitely throw him. He's a strong safety, definitely. I mean, he plays well in the box. And then you can also throw him out in coverage too. But definitely a really good strong safety. I'll go ahead and bring him in. Hopefully he could back up Landon Collins, because really there's nobody like Landon Collins on the roster that we have. Andrew Adams is probably the closest to that. I really like Andrew Adams. You guys know how high I was when we signed him. When I did this video 2 years ago, how high I was on Andrew Adams and how much I told you he was going to make the roster. Chander definitely has one of those chances, just like Andrew Adams. So we move on to Davon Grayson, wide receiver out of ECU. This guy's a tall, speedy guy. If you guys remember Jeremy Davis from UConn, we drafted him in the 6th round, I believe, about 3 years ago, 2015 draft, I believe, with Eric Flowers. So we got Jeremy Davis. If you guys remember Jeremy Davis, he plays for this Los Angeles Chargers now, but he reminds me of Jeremy Davis, but not in a bad way, just as in the structure, like how built he is. But definitely he's 10 times faster than Jeremy Davis and runs way better routes, and just doesn't look like he's lazy like Jeremy Davis was. Definitely Davon Grayson could make this roster and could be very good. A deep threat that is tall and has long arms. You think of a Torrey Smith, you think of a Mike Wallace, you think of a Deshaun Jackson. So those are very good names that made their living off of burning the defense, and that's definitely what he can do. On top of that, he can catch very quick passes, like with the slants and stuff like that, quick slants, a curl route, things like that. He's pretty good at doing that. So hopefully he can make this roster. We need a tall wide receiver. Let's just see if he could catch in traffic. I want him to catch more 50-50 balls. I want to see my 6'4" receiver catching 50-50 balls. So there's that. We move on to Aaron Davis, cornerback out of Georgia, and this guy should have been drafted. A lot of people were wondering why he wasn't drafted. He was graded as a 5th or 6th round selection. He plays slot and outside, so that's a good thing. I believe he started for Georgia as well, so we'll see how that goes out. Hopefully he can make this roster. We need some cornerback help. We got William Gay, he's old. We got a couple other guys on the roster, Dante Dion and Michael Hunter, I believe, and BW Webb, we just signed him, and then some guy from the Titans, some guy from the Titans too. So I don't know. These guys aren't that good, so we need all the help that we can get, all the competition we can get. So Aaron Davis, definitely welcome to the New York Giants. Next we got Nick Gates, offensive lineman out of Nebraska, played left tackle for Nebraska in college. I don't think he's gonna make this roster. It doesn't look like it. You know, we still have Adam Bisnawadi, our draft pick last year, and that's pretty much the lowest of the low that will go. I don't see much in Nick Gates. I watched a film tape of him. He's really bad. He's not good. So and I think he put up a decent combine. It wasn't spectacular, but I think it was decent to help him, you know, get signed somewhere. But I don't like Nick Gates that well. I don't think he's gonna do anything with us. So we move on to my favorite undrafted free agent signing so far, Grant Haley, cornerback out of Penn State. You know, we needed a nickel corner. I think everybody knew that, and I think Dave Gettleman knew that, and I think he was looking at somebody that potentially wasn't going to be drafted, and that's Grant Haley, cornerback out of Penn State. A lot of people, Mike Mayock is really high on this guy. You guys know I like Mike Mayock. I don't like Mel Kiper. I think he's one of the worst draft analysts. I mean, literally his job is to get on TV and say who's good and who's bad and make good mock drafts, and he can't even do that. So, I mean, I love Mike Mayock 10 times more than Mel Kiper. I follow everything Mike Mayock says. Mike Mayock says, you know, he was a 5th round, 6th round draftee, but he fell out of undrafted in the combine. This guy was just rambling about him. I was watching his combine tape, and Mike Mayock, you know, in the commentary was just rambling about Grant Haley and how, you know, everybody's saying he's slow, but he runs a 4.49. I think his best was a 4.46. And he's a very excellent slot corner and very good in man coverage for his height. Very annoying as well. You guys know, in a corner, I look for the annoying corners. I don't want just a guy that plays well. I want a guy, of course, that plays well and has great IQ. And it can read plays, but I want somebody that's very annoying. You know, you could be small and be annoying and be a good cornerback. You know, by annoying, I mean, you know, get your hands on the receiver, make him flustered, you know, get him off his timing, things like that. Always be on him. Be jittery with your arms, be jittery with your legs. Keep switching your hips around. Just make yourself annoying to the wide receiver. Grant Haley is definitely that. I mean, he annoys the hell out of every wide receiver he goes after. Even wide receivers that eventually, you know, catch passes against him. You know, he's always a nuisance to deal with. I'm pretty sure nobody wants to line up against him, no matter who you are. So Grant Haley, I think we potentially found our slot corner. We don't have really anybody to play the slot. I mean, William Gay, sure. I mean, but he's slow. I mean, he's old, and who knows if he still has his speed. I don't know, man. William Gay is just, I don't like him as our slot corner right now. So you guys let me know about Grant Haley, man. Turn on his tape, turn on his highlights. He has a lot of highlights. He's very good at intercepting the ball as well. So, I mean, we'll see. I think we found our next nickel corner for now, of course. But I don't think he's spectacular, but he's definitely worth of being drafted, and I'm surprised he wasn't. Moving on, we have Tae Davis, wide receiver out of Chattanooga. I didn't find anything on him. No tape, no nothing. I heard he was injured. He didn't get much playing time, but he has potential because he's a burner. 6'4", 175. What does 6'4", 175 remind you of? That reminds me of a Deshaun Jackson. Or Deshaun Jackson small. Isn't he small? Or like 5'11" or something like that? Who knows? But the thing is 175. When I think of 175, I think of Deshaun Jackson because he's 175. He's a stick. And, you know, 6'4", 175, you have to be a burner. If you're not a burner, what are you doing in the NFL? You're not going to be in the NFL with only 175 pounds and you're 6'4". Everybody's going to push you around, no doubt. So, you know, all these cornerbacks and all these other guys are just way like 25 pounds more than you and probably are stronger than you. So he's got to be a burner. We'll see what he does in minicamp, if he makes the roster. I mean, he was signed. He wasn't trying out. He was signed. So, obviously, they see something in him. We'll see what happens. But at least he was signed and not, you know, trying out for the team. Moving on, we have Evan Brown, center out of SMU. Here's another guy that I think will be a versatile player, but I don't think will make the roster. You know, center, he could be our backup center. He could play guard. Because usually with these centers, if you don't win the job at center, you're going to be put at guard. It's almost like 10 times out of 10. If you don't win a job at center, you're going to guard. I mean, the positions aren't really that much far apart. Of course, at center, you got to be smart. I think it's easier for a center to switch to guard than it is a guard to switch to center. Just because as a center, you got to know what everybody else is doing. So even the quarterback, even everybody else, you got to make the calls and stuff like that, make pass protection calls, and run blocking calls and stuff like that. So, you know, Evan Brown out of SMU, he runs a 4.97 40 time. That's not bad whatsoever. And also put 36 reps on the bench press in his pro day at SMU. He was not invited to the scouting combine in Indianapolis, unfortunately, but he made his put a name out for himself during his pro day, and congrats to him. Keep fighting for his dream. And these undrafted guys, man, you gotta give it to them, man. They're really trying their hardest. You know, they weren't drafted. Nobody's taking a chance on them, and here they are trying to make their mark in the NFL, like Victor Cruz, man. I just want to see another story like that. I really do. We now move on to our last signing, but not the last player that I'm going to be mentioning. The last signing, Tyrell Chavis, defensive tackle out of Penn State. This guy I actually do like. It's just another situation like last year. You guys know Dajuan Drennon, who was a defensive tackle that switched to offensive tackle. That never works out. But Dajuan Drennon, everybody liked him. I forgot what college he came out of. Was that the guy out of... No, Josh Banks was the guy out of Wake Forest. Oh, Jaron Jones came out of Notre Dame. And everybody liked him because he's a big run-stuffing defensive tackle. The problem is we have too much of those guys. So I knew he wasn't going to make the roster. And then Josh Banks, he was a pass-rushing defensive tackle, just didn't make the roster. I guess didn't show anything during minicamp or whatever it is. Here's another guy that I think has a lot of talent, but I don't think will make the roster just because we already just drafted RJ McIntosh and BJ Hill. Do we really need another defensive tackle? We already have Robert Thomas. Do we need another defensive tackle? I mean, this guy Tyrell Chavis can definitely make a roster or make a practice squad. He may even make our practice squad. I think he's that good. He's actually pretty good, guys. And then if I had to compare him to somebody, it would definitely be Mike Daniels, defensive tackle / defensive end out of Green Bay. You know, Mike Daniels can play, or Cullen Jenkins as well. Cullen Jenkins used to play defensive end and defensive tackle. Even though he's a bigger guy, he's just so athletic and so fast and so strong. He can play defensive end. That's another guy like Tyrell Chavis. He played 5 technique. I seen him play 5 technique at Penn State. I don't know if it was a certain sub package or anything, but I was watching his tape and highlights, and I seen him line up at 5 technique and do pretty well at it. So you know, it reminds me of Mike Daniels, definitely. Mike Daniels does the same thing. Plays end, plays defensive tackle. He's very versatile on that line. You can throw him anywhere, really. Just strong, athletic, very big. You're not going to be able to get through him with much ease. So, Tyrell Chavis, definitely, if I had to have anybody on the practice squad, it would be these 2 guys out of Penn State. It would be Grant Haley and Tyrell Chavis. So there are the undrafted free agent signings that we made for the New York Giants. Here are the mini camp tryouts, the people trying out for the team. And you think of tryouts, you're like, you know, high school tryouts, college tryouts. That just sounds so weird, trying out for the NFL. But these guys are trying out. Give them a chance. You know, they're as much as a bigger long shot than the undrafted players are, because the undrafted players are actually signed. These are guys that are trying out and aren't signed on the team yet. So here's offensive lineman Mark Korte out of Canada. Like he's playing in Canada. He played in Canada, I believe. So he's trying out for the NFL, and I assume if he doesn't make the NFL, he's gonna make the a CFL team. So there's that. Another guy, defensive back / linebacker / special team specialist, I guess. Jackson Bennett out of Ottawa. He's mostly a special teamer, and he's actually pretty known in the college CFL thing they got going up there, and you know, he has the potential to make the NFL, and he has the best chance of making the roster. Just because he's very versatile. He plays defensive back, he plays linebacker, he plays special teams. He worked as a punt block guy. I seen him punt blocks. I seen him return kicks for touchdowns. So he can definitely be a guy that we could bring in for special teams. I know the Giants are really working on that this year, getting a new defensive special teams coordinator and signing guys like BW Webb and all these other guys that can play special teams. So I'm sure they're trying to get that going. So we'll see if he makes the roster just as a special team type guy, and maybe we'll mix him in with some returning or playing linebacker or playing defensive back or whatever it is. So there's that. We got Robert Martin, running back out of Rutgers. And then we got James Clark, wide receiver out of Virginia Tech. Don't really know anything about these guys, but we'll see what happens in minicamp. Maybe I'm just mentioning their names for no reason. Maybe they won't make the team and we'll never hear their names again. But I'm just mentioning them now just in case you do, just in case we hear James Clark in the preseason, catch a 95-yard touchdown. So you guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who do you like out of our undrafted free agents? Definitely not the strongest undrafted free agents that we've had, class that we've had. I think my favorite class was definitely, I believe, 2016 with Dante Dion, with Andrew Adams, with who's the other guy? The wide receiver. His name will come to me. But anyway, Roger Lewis, of course, Roger Lewis, and then there's some other guys too. I think that made the roster, made the practice squad. Michael Hunter is from that class. So a lot of guys on that undrafted free agent class. That's one thing Jerry Reese did do well, or his scouting guys did do well in doing. So I definitely like that undrafted class. I mean, a lot of those guys made the roster and made the practice squad, even got playing time, even if they didn't initially make the roster. So like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.